Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to, in the words of the Flight of the Conchords, business time. We have a young, hungry club from Polonais, France, called tchac, who are in the ascendancy. They have been taking Europe by storm, piling on ever since that fantastic run they went on last year at EUCF to take third in the competition. But in their way, perennial enemies and titans of European Ultimate Fab. If these two teams were to meet, one is going up a flight of stairs, the other down potentially, but I'm sure Fab have got a lot more life in them yet, and we will get to witness it today. I am Lorcan Murray, and it is my pleasure to be joined once again by Hannah Pendlebury. Hannah, how are you feeling, especially after that screamer you just watched?
Well, I am riding high on a wave of energy. We just saw an excellent game in the women's pool play division. We had Helsinki Ultimate versus Troubles from Poland. And yeah, no, I'm feeling pretty pumped for some open action. We've got, as you say, Flying Angels Burn, the Swiss, and the French tchac. And we'll get things rolling.
So, that's going to start off with Laurent Stauffer and a huge layout D to get things started. Just a little taste of the meal we are about to serve you. An absolutely massive play by number 40 from tchac.
And it looks like I'm not the only one rolling on a high of energy. Looks like tchac are coming in this, all guns blazing straight away.
Now Quentin Roger picks up the disc, the EY Pody European Youth Player of the Year, Fives winner of that competition, an absolutely stellar player who's going from strength to strength, as now we see tchac moving, and who else? It would look like it was going to Roger initially, but in the end, Laurent Fay comes down with the disc, and tchac starting off strong.
Qui est le voleur? He is. Who's that thief in the end zone? Nice.
Absolutely fantastic stuff, and that's the high-energy, furious pace that tchac have made synonymous with their team over the last season, at the end of the previous one as well. And a lot of people are pointing to them at perhaps being the usurpers to the established powers of Bad Skid, of Fab, of Clapham in this tournament, of La Fada as well. If there's a new name coming here, it was tchac, who writ it initially in EUCF's history last year, and now attempting to increase the fund.
Indeed, and judging by the look of that play, I mean, we'll see that again. Nice setup there. Big around backhand, using the length of his body there to set that one up. And here we are. Fakes the flick, but then a nice... We've seen a lot of those actually in the previous game. These high release backhands into the this near corner of the end zone on the left-hand side. Very effective in this win. Nice and high, preventing the disc from being pummeled to the floor. Whereas a lower disc might have gone into the turf. The nice high release backhand, very, very effective in this game.
Smart decision by Martin Goulel. So now we see Fab go again, hoping to rectify that initial misstep. They're yet to have a completion, but they're able to get one now, and off to the races they are. Stauffer plays it down the line, so now looking to get it back in the middle of the pitch. There is Jan Tenger. Tenger still looking for a few options, and a lovely little give-go. Almost tries to hit the front of the stack in the waiting body of Moziman, but has to go back. Tenger plays it back down the line to Glur. Glur, one of the real leaders of this Fab team on offense. Now they get it to Moziman. Back to Glur. Glur looking around. They're keeping the stack quite shallow for now. And Fab kind of coagulating in front of the disc, trying to move things around. No real penetration deep, as they continue to just slowly pick away. Looking for a few options, trying to get back into the middle, into the arms of Moziman. And he pops it beautifully over the top to Stauffer. And Stauffer with the inside-out flick. That was pretty, and that's Severin Ries with the score.
That was a delicious throw. Was that a lefty being put in there? But certainly an IO flick that just saucily sailed into the end zone. Really nice and flat. I'm looking forward to maybe getting another look at that one soon.
I know it's normally the French who are known for their cuisine, but that was delicious.
Oh, there we go. Yes, indeed. A lefty IO flick out into space in front of his receiver. Absolutely sensational scenes. And again, to set up that play, another lofty backhand high release.
These players well versed, well experienced with this wind. Earlier on Friday, it was understandable. People weren't used to playing at this. We are, after all, at an airport, technically. Now they are well adjusted. They are well acquainted with the elements, able to use them to their advantage and avoid them affecting them detrimentally. Phenomenal start from tchac, though. That massive layout followed up by the quick score. Fab responded exactly as I expected them to, with that calm, cool approach. And now for the first time, we're going to see tchac's O-line as well as Fab's D-line, and we'll see just how those two outfits work. Sebastian Gleur staying on the pitch. Like we said, he's going to be at the front of a lot of Fab's best efforts, as here comes tchac. Looking around for options. Ronan Bichon. A near flawless thrower. Sasha Sokolski plays that down the line. And again, that high release backhand that you're talking about all the time. Perfectly weighted. Thomas Herveau.
Yeah, effective to throw over your mark, and also, just as they say, able to sit up in this wind, not be pushed down too far, so it comes in at a nice, easy level to receive.
Looking to give it back to Podsokolski. He gets it again, right in front of the Fab end zone. They go for the easy pop, decide against it, and try and lift it over the top of the heads-up defense from Lars Schmidt. Get that Schmidt out of there!
Excellent pun there, Lorcan. Yes, no, the lefty backhand, not as effective as the righty, clearly in this situation. Just a bit too bold.
Slightly too bold, and Benjamin Schaub looking to lead his team and get that break back. Lovely down the line to Gleur. Thinks about the deep shot, but the cut never comes, so he's forced to go down the line again. These are small gainers, not getting the continuations. A huge floaty disc. Who's up for an air ball early in the game? I would describe that as anticlimactic.
Yeah, that was a rocket of a throw as we see the lefty forehand into the far corner of the end zone.
That is just veteran knowledge by Martin Steiner. He sees all those eager, athletic young players go up and he decides to just stand where the disc will land and catch it, immediately popping it off. Let's have another look.
Yeah, look at that throw, though. Comes in as it goes up like a rocket, comes in at such an angle, and then just for that to be an easy clap catch over the back of someone else. Ludicrous stuff.
And brilliant stuff from Martin Steiner. And Fab, just like that, get the break back on serve.
Oh, that's what makes this team so dangerous, Lorcan. The ability to, yeah, they just went down a break, but they can come right back super hard and fast.
And everything's got to be left out there. Only the best remain at this level. And it is going to be riveting to see in a few other pitches. A couple of the other matchups. Ragnarok are taking on La Fata, just to our left.
So, Lorcan, please do tell me, because I was watching the Ragnarok and Chevron game. I presume Ragnarok came out on top of that one.
12-9 they won the game, and very low scoring for a game that has that high caliber of players. But you know, Ragnarok always so adept at playing the mental game, getting into teams' heads, making them uncomfortable and distrusting of throws that they would normally have completely within their wheelhouse. It's one of the best elements of Ragnarok's game. Also one of the more contentious, as here comes tchac, looking for options, trying to get the game going. Ronan Bichon again, this time lashing it deep, sprinting after it. Thomas Herveau somehow comes down with it. I imagine there's going to be a call on that play.
Yeah, no, he really ripped that one out of the sky. Very, very good read. Two players coming at him from the left-hand side, goes up and gets it. Definitely takes a fair amount of contact on the way through. I think he's probably got a fair ground to stand on there in making a call for a foul, because he had both hands secured around the disc.
And they're going to talk it out a bit longer. Elvouet involved in the conversation. Involved in the play, I believe it was Johannes Suter, although the man doing most of the talking, I'm not entirely sure who that is. It might be Pascal Kalin.
Well, either way.
I apologize. It's Nino Affini.
Either way, Lorcan, that was a risky biscuit, one might say. Actually, no, I take it back. He didn't have as secure as I thought he did. But still a fair shout.
I look at that replay and I'm thinking he had that fairly secure.
Oh no, but as in when I say I thought he had both hands securely around the disc, whereas that one's a little bit more watching it back.
Do you think it's a strip?
Perhaps that might be what he's calling. It does look like he's got.
Oh, you're absolutely right. He never had control of that.
Lots of pinball there, but again, it's very, very difficult to make these calls. I'm glad I'm not responsible for making them, but then again, my hands weren't touching the frisbee, so ultimately up to the players on the field, and that one will come back. As I say, in the first instance, though, not the smoothest disc to try and read by any means.
So Ronan Bichon is going to receive the disc, and just behind him in the dump position, Valentin Hulin. Bichon, one of the real leaders of this tchac team, immediately puts it right back to Hulin. Hulin down the field, forcing Olivier Labbé into the ground to get it.
Yeah, great collection from him there, putting the body on the ground.
And they keep working. You can see tchac, they cycle effortlessly through each of their players on the pitch. It's one of their greatest strengths. Doing it so quickly, without respite for the opponent's defense. Mollet this time coming under, popping and trying to go straight away. You see Bichon once more with the disc. The play restarts. It's a deep stack, but they still go deep from it anyway. Beautifully thrown, and Bichon carving up this Fab defense like a Christmas turkey.
You know, that was a sensational throw. Really, really lovely flight of the disc there, and just soaring out in front of the cluster. The three players, the tchac player out in front, 2 Fab players trailing behind. And just really nice way to score that one. There we go, see that again. Just the arc of the disc, perfectly positioned. A little bit of pressure from the Fab players, but at this level, an easy catch for this score for the tchac players.
Nino Efrini could do little but watch that disc sail into the ground, sail into the hands of the intended receiver. So 2-2. And a nice offensive hold for tchac. So now both teams with a break and with an offensive hold, a flawless offensive hold at that.
Yes, indeed. So very, very nice. As we start out this game. Early days yet though, Lorcan.
Plenty of ultimate left to play as they center to the middle. Lorenz Stauffer standing at the front. A nice swing around to the far sideline. And goes to get it back immediately. Looking for a few options. Got a few there. Muzzyman, the one immediately in front of him, taking a 100% pass. A lot of hard work by Glur, immediately in front of the stack. I love that throw from Muzzyman. Any high release backing that comes out with a lot of spin on it just looks so pretty to me. Also seems to defy the
yes, very attractive throw. Also a very nice composure from number 37, getting his hands around that one. Oh, is that a little hand block? No, foul called on that one. Too much man, not enough disc.
Exactly, I think from the way Faye reacted to it, he was just, yeah, that's
my bad. The replay hand slappy motion.
Just a quick discussion to make sure that it won't happen again. My word, he's able to pop that just over the top of the shoulder into the hands of Glur. And Glur with a lightning quick, but perhaps too fast break, trying to link up with Muzzyman again. As here comes tchac looking for another break. Trying to march their way down the pitch. Sullivan Robley. Huge layout deep, the disc is still available. Heartbreak for Dominic Odermatt, he's gonna have to go again. And you can see how hungry he is, bidding on those wild fakes.
Yeah, he did everything he could, but it wasn't quite enough to put the disc on the ground there and generate the turn.
So now they have to go again. Trying to tease, trying to poke and prod. Goulet instead goes for the dump.
Oh, lovely low fake to open up that high release there.
And Robley, there's been an awful lot of high releases. And there's a huge hammer all the way down the pitch. It's gonna have to go back, but Faye catches it just to make sure.
What a throw!
We could just see immediately in front of us how far that hammer was. It was pretty the entire way. And that's Quentin Roger. The EY Pody.
Sporting a rather ninja-esque headband with the...
I like how it's still branded, though.
Oh, no, it is. It is still branded, but it's more the fastening at the back making it it's the ninja-esque element. But using some ninja skills there to throw a delicious hammer at the end zone. Was that a pit call there, Lorcan?
I believe it was. You have to wonder how Faye got that free for the throw. Now Roger goes inside, and it's Faye coming under for him, and that's just how hard tchac work for each other all the time. Beautiful gainer on the massive undercut. And again, they get it to Robley. Robley looking for options, tries to send it to the end zone. Glur is removed, and Roger climbs a ladder and pulls down a cloud.
Certainly the 23-year-old getting big up there, using those ups. I mean, my goodness, what a reception. But certainly lovely scenes here for the tchac team as they outstretch their arms and celebrate that one. But we'll see a replay on our stream to watch tchac consider their options. Up goes the disc. Underneath it, Quentin Roger. Way to stay on his feet as he comes down with that one. He went up big, lots of explosiveness on that play.
Oh no, Merlin lost us down as 41, so I'll change that to
Oh, and there we go, seeing that layout bit again. Heartbreak for Fab.
Ravi, how do you pronounce his name? Ravi. How do you pronounce Pants' name?
What's you? Jose.
So here come Fab on the return once again. After just reclaiming their serve, they give it up as tchac with another big and impressive break early in this match. 3-2, things keeping it close. They're trying to stymie the Fab offense by using this zone, but Moisiman completely undeterred. He's so adept at just moving that cup around, faking it, letting the stall count get high, realizing that that'll make the force bid that little bit extra, and then taking the openings that appear. And working quickly, Glur teaming up with Stauffer as the call for man screams across the pitch. And Moisiman quickly playing it down the line. Stauffer with the disc. Thinks about the hammer, holsters it, disappointingly. Puts up a cheeky little push pass down the line, number 37. That's Yang Tenger back into the middle to Stauffer. And Stauffer being very influential, tries to go for the score and caught. Yes, that is caught by Glur for the point. Excellent stuff. So a little bit of a trend right now. They seem to concede the break, get the hold, score the break. Concede the break, get the hold, flawless. Shall we see them score another break to make it 3-3?
I don't know, Lorcan.
Sorry, 4-3 even, to regain serve.
Only time shall tell. But that's an interesting point you make. Both teams coming up with the goods, getting the blocks, and then actually converting their blocks, which is nice to see. That's what you want to see. You want to see teams generating turns and then actually converting. However, quite evenly matched at this stage. So it's unsurprising to see that as a result. Do you reckon either team might pull it forward? Or do we think we're getting the best out of them yet, Lorcan? I don't know. I haven't seen either of these teams play yet at this tournament.
I haven't seen either of them play yet either. And they are both strong teams coming out of the EUCR South. Last year, Fab won the entire division. tchac just snuck in thanks to being able to beat Crazy Dogs, and then tchac went on that incredibly impressive run at the tournament last year. This time around, tchac were the winners of EUCR South, and it was Fab who were in the lower ends just scrapping to get in. So they do seem to be two teams just passing each other like ships in the night. And I think, for me, tchac are in the ascendancy. If Fab were able to stay with them, even beat them, I would be very impressed with Fab's ability to stay relevant without ever really having that almost inevitable drop in competitiveness, as they are trying to transition to a younger team here.
Oh, there we go, the connection, the eye contact, and the visionary play there.
Absolutely fantastic stuff, as the French are able to get the hold and are able to punch in the score for the lead, 4-3.
So, to go back to the point, roll the tape back a teeny little bit there. I think we're definitely seeing some quality. We're seeing big plays from both teams. However, I think this one's going to hot up as we get on in this game. Let's see that end zone offense again. A little bit of eye contact between the two players. Wait for that. No, thinks about it. He looks at him. Arm goes out, and then the disc goes out. Really nice faith and connections there. Beautiful stuff.
You can see it as well on the dumps with those just lovely flick swings. They trust where their players are going to be, and they put these discs that are not going to sit there for that long. They would fall out of the sky rather quickly if they're not collected, and tchac just continuously collect them.
Indeed, we hear the cacaws of tchac. Not sure why they're calling like birds.
I think it's meant to be more of a seagull chant, and tchac's kind of whole thing is maritime theme, I believe. They've got anchors on their jerseys. Paul Naché
As someone who lives by the coast themselves, I can say I am not fond of seagulls in any way, shape or form. So that brings back harrowing memories, but clearly works for tchac.
Yeah, I also don't like seagulls, but I'm very much enamored with this team, and I'm willing to give them that liberty. And Moiseman's so good at teaming up with Stauffer and just going for those quick links. A big bid coming out of Quentin Roger, but unable to get there in the end. Fantastic stuff by Odermatt. And the teacher giving the young man a little bit of a lesson right there.
Oh, I just love watching Eric Stauffer play, and his disc placement is just... Look at that throw. Just out of the reach of a very athletic, explosive player who does everything he can, lays out full extension, but just enough. But yeah, I've had the pleasure of watching Stauffer a couple of times now, various different surfaces. I watched him on the beach once, very enjoyable. And just, yeah, such pleasure. I mean, and clearly one of the go-to throwers for this Fab side.
Stauffer and Gleur, very good, and then Moiseman kind of sitting in that mid position. They work together so well, resetting the disc, and it takes huge athletic plays to dislodge possession from those players. The thing is, that's what tchac are built on. That massive layout D just coming back to me every time I think about it. Opening point, first throw, that's how you start the game.
It certainly is, look, and that was a tone setter for sure. We're now starting to get more into just like the midsection of the game, things starting to just roll and roll and roll, but plenty of quality on both sides. I think this one's going to go right down to the wire, don't you, Lux?
I really do. I don't know how. I was a little bit curious. How are Fab going to be able to absorb the pressure from tchac? And so far, they're doing very well at it. The difference is slight. It's something that tchac are going to hopefully carry to half-time and really cash in for that extra break, because they started on defense in this half, but still the way Fab are playing, a lot of verve, a lot of fight still left in them. I don't see any way this goes unless it's close.
Really nice heads-up defense there, poaching off the handler, but making up that ground very quickly.
You see, they just strike right back at you. Labé playing it down the line. Elvouet going for a few options, and those are the kinds of dumps I'm talking about. They just trust their players are going to get there. And why wouldn't you, especially if you're dealing with the likes of Ronan Bichon.
A little bit messy on the unders there, though. Big layout bid from Fab.
Jan Schmidt, he's already got 1D to his name that his team is able to cash in. This time, not able to. Mathieu Bossé is a difficult man to contain as tchac go all the way to the opposite sideline. Mollet with the disc. Looks to pop it back inside and does to Labé.
Pick goal. A little bit messy in the backfield. As I say, tchac's offense not looking quite as clean as it has been in previous points. There's a little section where there are about 3 people in the underspace all cutting in front of each other.
So Labé forced to dump it back to Bichon. Still looking for options. Brilliant dump cutting. And Bichon working it. A couple of little give-go passes with Wojciechowski. Now the disc goes back. Elvouet plays it down the line to Mathieu Bossé. It's getting closer and closer. Schmidt wants that D. And they're looking for the quick pop in outside the end zone. Looking for options. Elvouet makes himself available. Go to Bossé, and he throws the quick scuba for the score. It's not pretty, but at the same time, beautiful. Excellent stuff. Mollet getting the point.
Yeah, Moret with excellent footwork there, just not that close to the line, but conscious that he's one who keeps that one in. Interesting there from tchac, not really making many cuts to the open side of the field, because Fab are looking very, very close on their layout Ds as they do make those cuts to the open side. We'll see that score again. Lovely handler footwork there. Just keeping it moving, keeping it going. And the handler leaves the space open for the receiver in the end zone of Moret. And, you know, everyone loves a little scuba for the score.
Absolutely, and Mathieu Bossé has so many break throws in his repertoire. Normally they look prettier than that, but are just as effective.
Yeah, and tchac, as I say, really favouring the break side, allowing their players a little bit more of a margin on the scintillatingly tight defense.
Fab are very good defensively in terms of tactics, in terms of being able to gum up opponents' offenses, working out what they like and trying to take that away, force them into something they're a little bit less comfortable with. It's a difficult ask against tchac, because the thing they're most comfortable with is just running faster than the man marking them.
Speed and power.
Gleur with the disc,
Oh,
goes for the big
huge.
hook. And that thing is pretty. All the way to the streaking Severin Reese. 3-pass offense, if even.
Yeah, that was absolutely ridiculous. That throw. Oh my goodness. I wish I don't even I'm not even going to say what I want to say about that throw because it's not appropriate for a live stream, but suffice to say that was very, very pretty. Let's have another look at that one. Round the arm of the mark. Steps out low, releases it. Such finesse, just smooth as butter. And Sebastian Claw there.
Setting up Reese. Just releasing him. Severin Reese, very fast player. You've got to give him that distance. You've got to get a little bit closer marking him for tchac.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of discs tchac want Fab to put up. The kind of just raw physical battles. And then they just back their own defenders to be able to shut them down. Make a huge layout D, something along those lines. But Reese timing it to perfection and having a good 10 yards of space between him and his defender. You can tell it's a good cut when the person marking you gives up before you've even caught it. They go, I'm not getting anywhere near
I'm
you.
gassed now. I'm going to reserve my energy for the next point and just bow down and worship at your feet for that excellent cut.
25 minutes into the game. And we're already a third of the way through potential points. 5 apiece, and this one is a real nail-biter. Throwing a few heavy slugs at the start, but now they seem to have just circling each other. Landing blow after blow, each one taking it and just knocking it right back. Huge throw out of the hands of Ronan Bichon, looking for the end zone, and that's the first real throwaway that we've seen of the game. Trying to connect down the pitch with Vincent Abita, another very young, very promising talent. Bichon, only 24 years old, Abita 21, and this tchac team is just packed with youth.
Yes, indeed, and Bichon setting up his cut very early. Actually, a switch coming out of the Fab defense there to handle that one a bit better, but not really the nicest throw we've seen from this tchac team. Bit of a blade to the floor, unfortunately. Not able to make a play to come up with that one. But we also now see Fab with a chance to
And you have to
pull
think,
ahead.
similar enough to one of the games we were covering earlier, and even a few yesterday, Gleur's playing an awful lot of points. Will that fatigue start to wear on him as the game goes on, with every point being the raw physical battle that it is? So now with the disc, Tor Harms, back to Gleur. Gleur sends it around.
Well, I don't know, looking at the way he's playing, very, very agile. And not much on him but muscle mass, but here we go, deep shot to the end zone. Well received.
Smooth as you like. Nino Afrini charging down the pitch, and that is one hell of a setup. Same third hooks, normally discouraged. Afrini cutting from the middle of the pitch and chasing that flick down. Excellent stuff from Fab, and just like that, they take the lead back for themselves. That's the 4th lead change we've had in this game as Fab return themselves to on-serve for the 2nd time in the first half.
Yeah, look, and this is a real grueling battle, actually. Both teams fighting to take control of this match right now. And that was a lovely throw in number 92, Nino Afrini, nicknamed Ninja, apparently, according to my stat sheet. And, yeah, no, sneaking into the end zone quite nicely on that one.
And that's probably why he's nicknamed the Ninja, I suppose.
Well, perhaps.
Perhaps. Maybe he
he'll
just
go
likes...
and steal Quentin Rogers' headband. Roger, sorry.
Perhaps he just likes wearing black.
Perhaps. Mysteries that we don't know, but we can only speculate about as these teams line up for this next point.
I tell you what I do know.
What do you know, Lorcan?
This is going to be fun.
Oh, yes.
There have been, as far as I can remember, 4 turnovers so far in this game. There have been 4 breaks. So it's a rare double 100% completion rate for break opportunities. These are D-lines. If you give them a chance, they will take it.
You know what I'm really sad about, Lorcan? That I did not get the stats app out so we could actually measure the stats in this game. However, those of you watching back later on, we can figure that out and tell them what their completion rates are. So, tchac getting it to work.
As Sokolski down the line, looks to lash one deep. Bosse's underneath it, somehow pulls it down, pinching it out of the sky and then popping it into Vincent Abita.
Oh my goodness. Look, and what even was that? That reception on that high disc Gentleman with the excellent beard and slightly paler on the face because of the layers of sunscreen he is just... I thought that was a sensational grab.
To
Get
me,
wrecked, Spab.
get wrecked, unfortunately. To me, it looks like he jumps up in the very height of his leap. He's able to, just before he starts to come back down, pinch the little curved edge of the frisbee. Just pinch that part. And the way the momentum then swings his hand around, almost as if he's lassoing it, celebrating it. I love that when somebody takes a catch, but the momentum still makes them pull their arm around.
Oh, yes. Just
Nice little bit of showboating.
absolute snag. So, yeah, no, that was beautiful. I actually thought for a moment, as that disc was going through the air, I thought it might have been a bit of a speculative throw, might get D'd. But no, credit to tchac. That was very, very pleasant to watch.
And there again, going with
goals.
Goal!
That's what I wake up to too often in my house. Not nice, but very nice, this tchac offense.
And here comes Stauffer, working with Moiseman once again, looking to get things going. Stauffer still searching for options, pops it back to Moiseman, gets it back himself. Middle of the pitch, but still no downfield penetration. They go for the first one. Glur, of course it's Glur. Attacking the sideline, launching it deep. He's got two options. Odermatt seems to have lost track of the disc, but you know who hasn't? Oswin Metzger pulling it down. Odermatt working as an ISO for him. There's some fantastic defense initially by Merlin Wallast, but in the end, Odermatt just keeps juking and diving and ducking, dodging, eventually picking up the score.
Yes, indeed, teaching him a lesson or two about how to juke in the end zone. But great takedown from Oswald Metzger there. Aussie. The carpenter by trade.
Just for the record, we have to ask for how to pronounce certain names, and I know it seems like we don't do that, but trust me, we do, and we work on it. The correct pronunciation for Oswald Metzger's name is Aussie.
No, I think that might be,
No,
they might have been using it as perhaps a...
Did you do French in school?
I did do French in school. I do speak some extremely ropey French. Lorcan.
Well, there you go.
I speak
I think
several
it's
languages. That's FYI. Badly. Mostly I get away with gesturing and pointing.
It's also how we speak Italian.
Ah, molto bene.
Bibbidi bibbidi boody.
Non voglio sapere.
Buongiorno. Ciao.
My one Italian phrase, which my mother taught me, having been harassed in Rome by attractive Italian men when she was the age of 19. But
There's
we
a
shall
fun
gloss over
little
this.
history lesson from the life of Hannah Bendelberg.
Learning about my mum. So we'll get back to the action here. Tchac and Fab.
They pop it back along. It's Axel Roger. Keeping the good times going. Plays it to Bichon. Down the line again. Throwing hands it back to the middle from Bichon. Helfway really having a big role early in this game. And Mathieu Bossé, after that huge grab, he's got to be flying high. Sokolski. Back into the Roger. Bossé. Bichon. Bossé. Leaders of this team.
Yeah, lots of passes.
Back to Roger.
Lots of passes from Tchac, but not that much pressure yet from the zone.
Not particularly, as Roger has it again. Sends it into the middle. Bossé just keeps it rolling around to Helvouet. Helvouet looking for options. He's got Labbe, he's got Bossé immediately in front of him. It's Roger coming out of the stack. Again, trying to get something going. And Faber doing a good job of not giving them any real yards in the open side. There's the initial break. Can they keep it going to the opposite side? Bichon puts out his arms like an airplane, trying to take off here at the airport fields. Beautiful throw over the outstretched hands of the Fab defender. Roger collects, looks for it down the line, can't take it. Bossé comes back around. What do you think about that for a high release backhand? Almost releasing it as he's lifting his arm.
It's not even a high release so much as it's just a pop. You usually see that throw indoors. Wind has died down enough for Roger to be able to put that one up, but I do rather like it. Nice bit of sauce on that one.
So
We're finally seeing some Tchac looking a little bit under pressure now that Fab have actually transitioned into a person defense match.
They've done a really good job of, say, just that 10 by 10 box in the open side in front of the end zone. They're not letting them get any free men in there. But now Bichon, every time they creep a little bit more to the break side, it looks more and more like Tchac are about to score.
As we said earlier, Tchac favouring that break side.
And Abite aiming for it, sending it to Helvouet. Helvouet still looking for options, tries to get it himself. The poach defense helping out to stop those break throws. And Tchac slowly being forced out of it. Bossé gets effortlessly up in the air to take down that high disc. Shoots the break, and it's a layout from Bichon. Bossé to Bichon for the score.
And finished off. A little bit of icing there with a nice spike. But as you say, tchac favouring and looking, really focusing on using that break side. Get away from the presence of the Fab defense. No easy shots.
It's a very difficult thing to do, and really to be commended the work of Roger, Bichon, Bossé, and just constantly switching it around. Elvouet kept coming from the stack, back out to help, back into the stack, back out to help. And that tireless, selfless work from the tchac players downfield really helps to keep the offense taking over. There were an awful lot of passes there, but they never really looked like they were going to turn it over.
Exactly, and the only point where they really looked under much pressure was when Fab first transitioned into the match defense. Up until that point, really happy to just patiently work it through the zone. Really good aggressive handler movement. A lot of the yard gains actually came from working it just through the handler set, not actually really punching it through many of the holes.
But you've got to like, for a team who love hitting the break side, they don't try to hit it on low percentage shots, and Fab have shown why with the 4 lead changes we've had so far in this game. As here they come on Galaxy Point, trademark Ulti TV, trying to fight their way into this match. Moisiman with the disc, 7-7. How often is the first pass Stouffer to Moisiman?
I don't know, but he'll have all the options because there is no stall on him right now.
And who is meant to be marking him?
Don't
As we
know.
see coming out of the stack, a rather confused looking Sullivan Robles. Well taken by Odermatt.
Well taken there, kept his eyes focused on the disc.
Back to Moisiman in the middle. Again, trying to get out to Stouffer. Collected by Gleur. I think's about the leading pass shot to Reese, but decides against it. Now back around to Stouffer. And tchac trying out different defenders on Stouffer to try and limit his effectiveness. Brilliant collection by Reese. Back into the middle to Moisiman, whose main job seems to be just safety valve. Sits at the front of the stack, doing a fantastic job of relieving the pressure, giving the option to get the game going again. Nice little collection. Disc was getting a bit far away from them. Moisiman keeps moving. Those short gainers, giving them any chance to rest. Gets it back into the middle in the form of Jan Tenger. Jan Tenger seemed to lean back as if he was going to unleash something. Gets it down the line. Moisiman laying out and keeping his feet in bounds. Very impressive play. A lot of focus. Little bit of a knock in the back from Robles. And once again, we see Stouffer.
Yeah,
So
really
now
nice to
Moisiman.
see. Really nice to see the pressure of this defense remaining strong throughout.
And that's Tenger to Gleur. Gleur in front of the end zone. Stouffer trying to get free from a little bit of ducking and diving himself. Front line of the end zone. Still waiting for options. Stouffer tries to get the smooth one, and Bossé comes oh so close. But Moisiman stays tall, stays strong, and takes the lead 8-7. And that's half for Fab.
Oh, and they ground out that half for sure. What an intense point. Just absolutely relentless person defense from tchac. And as you say, even on the score, just such a tight margin. A great throw, but all of the pressure on that head's got to be given credit to Fab for the
And this is
way of
Bossé
staying up.
hitting Bichon earlier in the game. Fantastic stuff. And I love how loud tchac are after every score, cheering for each other, lifting each other. And here again, we see just the little bit of ducking and diving that the Fab are so adept at right in front of the end zone. Stouffer initially, then Moisiman.
Oh, and there we go.
Bossé came close.
A little gentle push on the end there to stop himself falling into the player. But yeah, no, what tight. Such a tight game, Lorcan. This is exciting.
Very, very tight game.
But it's like almost understatedly exciting.
Right,
Do you know
I
what
thought that was
mean?
just me.
Everyone looks really calm.
Relaxed.
They're just doing a job. No one's kind of like getting overheated or overexcited. They're just, it's almost mechanical right now.
Just do your job seems to be the mantra of both of these teams. And it's amazing to see. So far, apart from the one throwaway that tchac had, it's been big defensive plays to dislodge the disc from your opponents. It's the only way it seems to be, because you've seen how beautiful these offenses have been. On both sides of the disc as well, because once you give up that disc, neither team's giving it back yet.
Oh yes, and we're starting to see, I don't know if you can view it on your stream at any point, but tchac now they do have an adorable sideline, this team. We've got some young mascots, potential stars of decades to come. in supporting their jerseys. A lot of family affair, but there is a look, and there is a seagull kite now in front of us, in front of our commentary booth, and I'm not sure how I feel about this. The continued referencing of seagulls is making me deeply uncomfortable.
Oh, I think it's wonderful, especially because it's a young man in a Fab jersey who's playing with the seagulls, so I like that a lot. Just the community coming together, and it's great to see all these new young generations of players who I hope one day will take up the mantle and help push European Ultimate on in the same way their forebears have. Fab have always been at the cutting edge for so long now. They've been just one of the drivers. tchac really rising to prominence over the last few years, and especially if you look at how French Ultimate has really succeeded in the open division of Beach Worlds, coming together in so many other places, mixed and women's. Just France really trying to step up and challenge GB in Germany's presumptive position at the top of European Ultimate. tchac, the point of the spear for that challenge. And we're seeing right here where all that skill is coming from, where all that talent and work ethic is coming from.
Yes, indeed, very much a delight to see coming out of the French region. And also, you know, we have an appropriate chant for tchac because they are playing in a rather fetching dark blue colour. So you can say Allez le bleu, which obviously you usually used to refer to French national teams. So we're getting the second half now underway. Will we see more of the tight, efficient play that we've seen in the first half, or will things start to pull away, get a bit messy?
Wouldn't mind if things got a little bit sloppy.
Oh, well, not sloppy. I would like to just see things get even hotter, like really people playing out of their skin. Ultimate would be lovely to see here on these rather picturesque fields in Carole.
I want some floaty discs.
Floaty
That's
discs.
what I want. I want some floaty discs, because there are some very good receivers, but so far the throws have also been excellent for the most part.
Look and see now, floaty discs equals people getting potentially hurt. So I'm not a fan, but tchac will get this underway with a nice easy under first.
You got to put your body on the line if you want to win it. Elvouet sends it down the line himself. Sokolski with the disc. Again, trying to make that connection. Can't quite get it off. Elvouet just about able to put in the work. Unbelievable dump cutting from the tchac players.
Yeah, the effort on Elvouet's face as he went up that line, just grimacing, using all of his leg power to get in front of his really quite large defender.
And you can see here, I think there may be a call for a stall out. Aussie. Involved
Oi,
Sokolski.
oi, oi.
Ozun Mitska.
We'll have a little chat about that one.
I believe it's tall arms.
Contested stall out.
So it's going to go back. Fantastic effort, like you were saying, from the grimace on Elvouet's face as he just used everything in his body to just plant, turn, and push off in the opposite direction.
Yeah, Torre Harms is a really sizable guy and very, very close. Clearly, both players very well matched for speed.
So maybe I'm going to get my wish and see a floaty disc right now.
You never know. I reckon it would be a zipper. Yep, there we go.
And Bossé can't get there. Brilliant line picked by the Fab defender as he charges forward and attacks. Harms with the disc now. Goes to the nice inside. And there's a drop. So that's the first time we've seen a D-line give the disc back. Bichon picks it up. Goes for the huge hammer. Maybe this is what you describe as sloppy.
Oh, a foul immediately called there as 35, Lars Schmidt seems to go almost through the armpit of Franz Mathieu Bosso.
Mathieu Bossé. Sorry, that says pants
Bossé.
beside him because he doesn't have a
Pants.
number on his jersey, so
Oh,
I wrote
excellent.
down pants because he's the only one in trousers.
Well, as we learned in an earlier game where you hand wrote me a roster. Also, thank you very much for doing that, by the way, Lorcan. I cannot read your handwriting for toffee.
It's very fair. I'm actually legally disabled. I have dyspraxia.
But dyspraxia is to do with numbers, no?
No. At least not the one I have.
Well.
Dyspraxia is to do more with clumsiness.
I see.
Fantastic, huge D from Fab. Doing a really great job against Bossé. He is not an easy man to contain.
Indeed, but so now Bosse having a discussion on the field. We'll have a feeling that one might come back.
I don't
Definitely
think it
a
should.
lot
I
of-
think that was pretty clean
No?
from Schmidt.
Yes, contested foul. The disc will come back, but definitely a lot of hang time on that hammer. And it's always tricky. You're asking a lot of Bosse to come down with that one. It sits for a long time. 2 white shirts underneath it. Neither player smaller than Bosse, all quite well matched.
Tall players. It does seem like Fab kind of have that edge in terms of height. So Bichon is looking for a few more options. Eventually gets around to Elvouet. Elvouet himself does a fake for the same throw.
Fakes.
Very soft, like relaxed fakes.
Not these snappy fakes that throw defenders off, just caressing the air with the frisbee.
He's trying to gently manipulate them, and that's a nice throw. Bosse's going to have to get up big, and does. This time stealing it away. And goes for the push pass. And despite the best efforts of laying out Oswald Metzger, they're able to pick up the score. And tchac just about convert. That was probably the messiest point. That was definitively the messiest point.
100%. 100% the messiest point. And definitely, I mean, I'm glad you managed to get the name of Bosse, because all over the shop for this tchac team, he just plucks them out of the sky. Almost seems to sit up there. So we get another look at that contested foul, Elliot. Yeah, quite a lot of contact into the body of Bosse.
Just to clarify something very quickly, number 35, Lars Schmidt, twin brother of Jan Schmidt. Jan Schmidt got the D earlier on. Number 44, he got the D earlier on in the end zone. First half, Fab were able to convert and get back on serve. Lars Schmidt also a very impressive defender. Fun little fact, when asking their ages, Lars Schmidt told us his age, told us he was 23, another young man out there showing what he has.
Look at Bosse.
What a catch.
Oof.
And you can see Lars Schmidt immediately. That was a brilliant switch there as well, as Fab pulled an extra player to try and get the D, and Schmidt recognizing, giving up on the man he was marking, trying to find who the other one was. And once again, Reese goes deep for Glare. That's a hell of a connection, but Quinton Roger is gaining with every passing second, but runs out of time as Reese runs into the end zone for the score.
Yeah, no, you saw that cut set up and set off the flying shirt of Severin Reese. Just powering his way towards that end zone. You can't not take that option. It's just absolute money shot, Lorcan.
Glare and Reese connecting for the second time in this game and for countless times for this season.
Just look at that put. Just knows him so well. Clearly just has his number for speed and position of the disc, and just, I'm losing my words, Lorcan. And just the quality of ultimate that we're seeing in this game, it's just really nice, and such a high spirit level. Both teams pushing each other, feeling each other's out, and kind of, you know, we're starting to get to that point. We had a little bit of sloppiness in the point before the last one. A bit of, you know, a dropped disc, high passes that are floating in the air, bids underneath. I think we might be starting to see maybe someone take a bit of possibly a lead, maybe.
A more determined lead? Push shots?
Oh, yeah, because I mean, at the moment, they're basically just trading breaks and trading points,
trading
aren't
backs
they?
every now and again. Somebody else gets on serve, and then they have to go back to it.
So really, neither team feel like they're charging ahead.
Fair. Early stages of the second half. Winning the third quarter, so crucial in these kinds of situations. You can see Gallo marshalling his troops as they get ready for their next defensive showing.
But now it's Fab on the defense. A large pull sailing into the back of the end zone. Lovely pull there.
Centered to the middle in the waiting hands of Bichon. On a huge layout D, who else but Glare? That's why he's on every point. The offensive arsenal and the defensive athleticism. Take a bow. Take a bow, son.
Oh, Glare. Double happiness for the young man in the backwards cap. Sebastian, nicknamed Kiwi. Goodness knows why, but look at that layout bid. Reaches around the body of his mark and just slams it to the floor. And then finds that back corner of the end zone on the near side. Oh my goodness.
That is reminiscent of what tchac did on the opening point. So clean by Glare. I think he baited that a little bit. I think he always knew he had the steps to catch up with Mollet and just kind of baited it, said, yeah, that guy's open. No, he's not. And then immediately tearing up. So that's a big lead, 10-8.
And you see the hand signal there from tchac, immediately taking a timeout call to allow Fab to cool their heels. There's no way in heck that they're going to let Fab come straight off the back of that huge defensive play from Glare.
Oh, you can't let them get rolling after that.
Oh, no, you cannot, Lorcan. So a wise timeout call from tchac here.
And like
French team collecting themselves, having a nice little chat, maybe a little bit, a sip of water. But I said before that point, Lorca, maybe we'll see someone take a more determined lead and charge in this game. Glur, clearly hearing that, taking the game into his hands by both hands, just tearing away with that point. Oh,
you really did call it after a game this is the first time there's been a 2-point lead directly before. Glur showing what kind of a leader he is for this Fab outfit.
Well, this is the stage of the game where they need to do that. Early in the second half, it's been such like the point before the half, to take the half, was such a grind. Because it was Fab that took the half, right? So such a grind of that point. So really, this is the stage where if you can now start to pull something out the bag, you know, show a bit something different, you could really take momentum and just swipe it away, get that nice cushion, and then trade it out maybe. But very exciting scenes here as Fab come up with the goods.
Very interested to see what kind of line tchac are going to send out there. What kind of plays we can expect from them. Bichon, Bosse, Elvue, all taking to the pitch. Obviously, you need to have them out there, joined by Labe as well, who's been doing a lot of tireless cutting downfield in this game. Labe really putting in work to make sure that Fab can't get settled, can't peel off defenders to try and help out. If you're going to like get the disc off tchac, you have to just be able to beat them 1v1, or maybe towards the end zone get away with them putting up a bit of a floaty disc. And that's down to the fact that even the uninvolved players, the seemingly uninvolved like Labe, keep putting in the hard yards. Don't stop working.
And that's what you have to do. Every player has to be a threat because the intelligence and field vision on both sides of the disc are pretty high, Lorcan.
Incredibly high as Bichon looks to centre it to Bosse. Two of the three members of what our companion Ravi likes to call the 3 Bs, pillars of the tchac side. Unfortunately, Eric Becker injured and not playing, so currently reduced to just 2 Bs.
Well, I haven't noticed that he's absent yet. tchac seemed very, very good.
And that is fair enough, as now we see Valentin Hulin playing a more involved role, as Hervé and Vulin seem to be content to take over this game for a little while, and Bosse and Bichon making themselves available as necessary against this Fab zone. And Hervé just sitting in the pocket and getting the disc time and again. Moret now coming and getting involved. As you see just further down the pitch, Lave and Abita not letting the deep or the wing really wrestle or focus or help out. And Hervé, a huge bid, but coming up empty for Nino. And now Hervé plays that one out, just about collected by Moret. And they floated in, patient, calm and effective. tchac needed that to settle the nerves after going 2 points down.
Oh, lovely little throw there from Bosse. But again, Fab coming out with his own look, trying to change things up, maybe shake tchac off their game, sneak another break. But really, apart from that one maybe slightly miscue throw over the far side, there we go. We'll see that nice little loft there from Bosse. Beautiful work into that end zone. But apart from a little bit of a maybe miscue that was reeled in very nicely over the far side of the pitch for tchac, against that zone, they look completely composed. Even with the flying, literally flying angels, those layout D attempts. One from Afrini, I think Nino Afrini getting big in that zone. They just look so chilled, so composed. I think if you're Fab, you really do need to put in the work and just play person defense and just push tchac. Because they are looking a bit afraid of them on the open side, using that break side to great effect. But I don't know, maybe a different zone look, but it doesn't seem to be causing tchac any issues.
To me, it still seems like both teams have that extra gear. As Glur launches that one, it makes it difficult for Reese, but he doesn't like to let Glur down and collects pretty much everything the man throws anywhere near him. As Moiseman going to work with Jan Tenger again. Has the disc in the middle. So looking for options. None coming immediately apparent. In the end, able to just about get it down to Metzger. Metzger puts it back to Stoffer. Beautifully down the line to Moiseman, who just keeps on making himself available for his team. Excellent running. And hard standing by Tenger to make sure that he keeps the disc. Go back to Moiseman in the middle, and Glur Faye looked to be creeping across and he'd have a bit of it, but not in the end. And Glur breaking him seemingly at will and floating it into the path of a streaking Stouffer.
Oh, that's a snap of an around break for Sebastian Glur there. Just lethal throw.
And something that I really like about that is early in this game, Stouffer was running things, working with Glur a lot. Moiseman was in that position as a mid. You can see there Glur with the shot to Stouffer. But that was one of 2 touches Stouffer had in that point. For the most part, a lot of the work is being done by Yang Tenger, who's coming in and working, and Moiseman again, just always in that mid position, always where you need him, staying strong, and that's just a calming presence to have out there offensively, a necessary component to every truly elite O-line.
Yes, so I've already shown my hand in that I'm a big fan of Stouffer's throws, but there was the one throw he did put up the line, I think it was to number 28, Mark Moseman. It just, where he caught it, it literally lasered directly to between, just like into his sternum essentially, the perfect point to make that catch, the most secure part where the clap catch is just, it's just natural, it's right there. Really lovely displacement, but to hark back to the middle of that point, we're having a little chat. I agree. I think both of these teams have another gear. We saw Fab shift into that high gear off the back of Sebastian Glur. Those 2 points before that huge layout bid, and then running pretty much straight to the back corner of the end zone for the score. Double happiness for him. I think we need to see more passages where they find that 6th gear, just put the clutch down, chuck it in to the high gear to really get some momentum going and change the story of this game.
That was a delicate catch. I am sorry to cut across you, but Sokolski made me an unbelievable play. I think you're absolutely right. tchac looking to maybe push into that gear themselves, pushing the pace ever so slightly. They've got Axel Roger. A bit of a miscommunication. It's going to need a big grab, but Bosses are coming, and you know what he brings. So he collects it off the ground after the miscommunication. This one a bit too far out of the acrobatically ecstatic Labé, but he couldn't bring it in. So now Fab with a chance to extend this lead even further. As they play to the sideline. A huge fake, even dislodging himself, and Labé gets a layout and collects the disc, making up for it. A brilliant recovery. tchac needed that. And Bichon just marshalling his troops, taking his time, walking slowly to the disc. They're in the red zone now. They have to convert. Axel Roger. I love the 45-degree angles forward down the pitch on the break side. Peculiar place to set up on the dump. This time Bosset is able to hit Labé with the easy pass. Bosset has it again, and there's the lefty backhand flip for the score. And Sokolski picks up another stat.
Oh my. That was, I mean, I love the assist there. Literally, disc barely in Bosset's hands, and he just flips it immediately to his teammate over the shoulder of his mark. That's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful stuff. So, I reckon we reached maybe 5.5 gear there. Little channel of 6.
Definitely sniffing it.
Definitely amazing acrobatics on the initial turnover, trying to keep that disc alive. But now really starting to push each other. It's getting exciting, Lorcan. I am excited. The sun is blazing down now. It's come out from the clouds behind us. Don't know if it's affecting the video stream much, but here we go. Bit more of the look at that hero bid from Bosset.
Saving possession after there was a little bit of a miscommunication.
And here we
Roger
are.
on the dump.
Look at that bid. Acrobatics from the 44 shirt of Olivier Labé.
You could even see from the moment the throw is released, the tchac man turns and sees Roger nowhere near where he thought he was, but Bosset always active, always looking to get involved, cleaning it up. And now tchac trusting their match defense. And why wouldn't you? With some brilliant plays, sneaking across, almost able to get the D there, Martin Goulet. And that one's very floaty. Fantastic interception. Stouffer thinks he had it.
Oh, there we go. Bit of excitement here on this matchup. Oof.
I believe.
We'll have another look at that one on the replay. Oh, very, very tight. Definitely the momentum bringing it through in the hands of number 24, Quentin Roger, but disc will go back as that one is contested.
So Stoffer is able to put that one back on Moisey Man, but this time it's stolen away far too delicate as Thibault Brazeau makes himself involved in the game. And a slight throw, you could see just the frustration on the face.
Oh, that is so disappointing. Oh, that was such a nice D, and then just conservation of greatness for tchac. Very, very upsetting. Although I'm sure Fab will be delighted, obviously.
So here come Fab immediately going deep. Two of their players, three tchac, and they still somehow come down with it thanks to the speed of Severin Rees. That boy is fast. Odermatt puts it back to Rees. They're trying to set up an ISO in the end zone. Odermatt completely free. Nobody followed him across. And now he gets the score, 12-10.
The frustration on the far side of the pitch from the tchac player, asking for some help from the sideline. Apparently no one informing them that Fab were completely free on the far side of the end zone.
So we're just going to have another look. Immediately sending it. And Rees, so good in the air, gets up before any tchac player could even involve himself in the play. Doesn't want to force anything. Odermatt makes himself available. Nice little bit of cutting. And look at Odermatt. As soon as he throws it, he takes off. And Quinton Roger doesn't go with him. Nobody on the sideline talking to him. You can see him looking for it afterwards. Brilliant heads-up play by Odermatt. Odermatt, maybe not the fastest, maybe not the most athletic, but one of the most intelligent ultimate players out there on this pitch. If you give him an opportunity, you can be sure he will take it.
Oh yes, indeed, look. And also, I would like to point out my slight error. The close bid with Staffer was not actually 24, but 26, I believe. Corentin Gros. So, credit to you, bro. That was a lovely piece of defense. And also, Brazeau, that just thief of a defensive run-through. Oh, my goodness. Such a shame to see it turfed afterwards, but he's got a lot to be proud of on that play, that's for sure.
I think that might have been the first time he touched the disc.
Perhaps.
I'm sure he'll be eager to get another shot as tchac back on offense. Playing it amongst themselves, Bichon with the disc. He's got a completely free dump in the form of Valentin Hulin. Gives it back to Bichon immediately. That one is low, forcing the receiver, Moret, to get onto his knees to pick it up. Moret looking around for options. Goes with the lofty pass. That is brave, every way, but I suppose he trusts his throws.
Oh no, that was a switch gone awry there, Lorcan.
Bosse picks it up in the middle of the pitch. Lashes it quickly around. Abita can't get it off, puts it down the line to Sokolski instead. Sokolski looking for options, takes the easily available one to Mollet. Mollet looking for options, eventually gets one in the form of Abita again, passes off to Bichon immediately. And I believe there was a call.
Pick
yes,
call.
that would make sense, otherwise everybody was getting fired 2 lax ago. So now again, Bichon fakes the hammer, instead just puts out that nice lofty backhand around. You see Mollet looking for options, Bosse trying to provide him with one. Instead he goes to Elvouet. Oh, again, and they're just working so hard on these isolations. One cutter coming every time out from the stack, trying to gain a little bit of distance for tchac. Completely unmarked, seemingly Abita's able to just sprint. And Metzger must have just forgotten his coverage for a second, gets it back in the middle to Sokolski. Bichon just calling for it, keep that swing going. Instead he goes for the much harder inside break, and Bosse doesn't need a second thought, turning and throwing. Elvouet knew what was coming and put himself in the right place for it.
Again, we see this throw from Bosse, this assist. Gets the disc in hand and immediately just high release backhand. There you go. For you, a gift. I give to you a score.
For I am a generous ruler.
For I am a benevolent king. But no, king of the left hand, not their left hand, the high release backhand. Bosse, just beautiful.
Very reminiscent for me of Butakov yesterday with those scoobers.
Oh, that's true, yes.
Different throw, but same application, really.
Same mastery. Absolute
yes, definitely.
mastery of that throw. So, those of you looking to improve your tossy high release backhands, definitely a gentleman to study footage of. Bringing you lots of quality plays. To be fair, it's just both rosters are chocker full are very, very handy ultimate players, which is why they are here at this stage of the EUCF as the seagull chant from tchac gets in underway.
They need to start applying some pressure. They need to start turning the screws. It is 12-11. Time is running out. Although just a testament to how high the standard of quality is at this game. It's only 64 minutes in and the score is this close to 15. Both teams just going back and forth, very few turns. Glur with the disc, looking around, waiting for options, working closely with Jan Tenga. Momentary pause for effect, and Stouffer directing his troops.
Again being marked by Gros.
That's a fantastic matchup, Gros. A name that rings out in French Ultimate and amongst the teams that have played against him, a phenomenally tenacious defender. And coming under for the easy collection, Oswin Metzger, Ozzy puts up the around. Smoothly taken in by Reese. And Reese looking to connect with somebody, gets it to Stouffer as Glur tracks the attention down the line. Stouffer puts that one back and Ozzy picks it up again. Metzger dropping it back to Moiseyman. Moiseyman, that might be the first flick I've seen him throw in about 15 completions. And Glur looks to get it back. Moiseyman has it. tchac changed their defense ever so slightly, now just going with a more direct force. And man, Stouffer dislodges them with the hammer, throws it to Moiseyman. I think he faked out all 7 of tchac's defenders with that one.
Yes, no, the hot gun of Stouffer there. Throwing everybody off their game with the hammer fake. And that's the thing, when you have such a varied throwing skill set, that's what you can do to teams' defenses. You can just throw them off with a decent fake because they have to respect everything that you're showing them you might be putting up.
And when Stouffer has the disc, that's 100% the case.
Exactly, Lorcan. And so I think Fab's offense there, really, really nice to watch. Such power, but also such control. Happy to grind it out, work through their handler set, make those opportunities, but there's a teeny tiny pause when they're hitting their upfield cuts. Just the teeniest, like the extra second to just make doubly sure that it's 100% pass and just nailing it into the end zone. Really nice. It's almost like I don't want to criticize them at all for taking that extra second. It's really good. They're not getting too hot-headed, not getting ahead of themselves. They know they're up. They're just playing very secure offense. So, can they generate another turn to make it that extra bit secure? I reckon maybe they've got the edge for me right now.
Fab?
Yes.
I can understand why. I think these teams are incredibly closely paced. Fab have that 1-point lead right now thanks to the serve and another point thanks to the additional break they hold over tchac. I still think tchac have got it in them because for me they haven't shown that extra gear, and once the pressure is on, like in this situation for their D-line, I think they'll really step it up and you'll see just how lethal they are. Bosse getting big and playing it off to Bichon. Bichon looking around for options. Receives one in the middle of the pitch in the form of Sokolski. Sokolski has Hervouet in the middle, and that is one hell of a break to get it to Hervouet. And he pops it back to Sokolski. Completely free. Huge layout! Little bit inaccurate at the pass, but what a reception.
My goodness gracious me. Moving my mic away from my mouth because that was just ridiculous. That layout, just, you couldn't ask for more for Romain Moreau there. What a lad, one hand. Making that look, I mean, definitely made that look glorious.
Let's just have another look at it. Now you can see unbelievable pass from Hervouet, or to Hervouet from Sokolski. Sokolski gets it back right in front. Quick fake, moves the entire Fab defense, open shot, straight to Moret, decides to let him show off for the people at home.
I don't know, but this is what I mean about the fact that I think Fab have not a big edge, Lorcan. Don't get me wrong. I still am very conscious that tchac could bring this all the way right back and in front to sneak the win. However, I think Fab just have that little bit of je ne sais quoi right now. In this moment, in this part of the game, tchac could come back and steal momentum. However, looking at that offense to get that score, not looking as secure. Maybe that actual experience of Fab, you're saying they're on the downward escalator, but that experience in this high pressure situation.
I'm going to eat those words. This team looks absolutely fantastic. It just seemed they didn't have the greatest qualifying season. They did manage to win Swiss Nationals, but right now they, I think, are playing their best ultimate of the year. And what a time to do it. Chauffeur lashes it deep. Glur completely free. Metzger sprinting to come and get it. Doesn't really want it, he decides. And is able to get it off to Glur. Tireless cutting. Throws his man to the floor. And now they're back to Tengen, back to Moiseman. Moiseman is going onto his tiptoes, not letting them settle. Some really tireless work by Tenger. Floats it up and Glur looks to pop it in. It does so successfully. The nonchalant celebration, I love it. He's been dominating this game right from the get-go. And now he puts his team within 1 point of a semi-final berth.
That is my favorite spike of the entire tournament thus far, coming out of the hands of Sebastian Glur after that trot into the end zone.
It's up there for me as
setting
well.
setting that up. It almost seemed like that pass to 37 to Jan Tenger went straight at his face. He had to catch that to avoid it from basically going into his mouth.
Well, that's fab for you. They're going to throw it very accurately, very fast at you, and you have to catch it or else you'll be in pain.
So big opportunity now for the defensive line. A hot 7 from Fab. The team coming out of Bern is down. You said, Lorcan, this beginning of this game on the downward escalator perhaps. And tchac on the rise, but it's 14-12 now. I don't know. This is going to be a big point.
It's going to be a massive point and a difficult one to predict.
Yes, the live stream score incorrect. It's not 12-12, it is 14-12, and Fab are ahead, just in case you were wondering.
So now, a big pull seems to be going out of bounds for a brick.
Oh, and that's sailed over the fence. As we say, big defensive point for Fab. Maybe the too much ammunition in the gun for the pull.
Yeah, you can see the adrenaline really kicking into that pull as tchac are going to set it up at the brick mark.
That's what you want, though. You want to get that wild, raw power in your defense, then be able to holster it for the O.
tchac appear to be setting up in a side stack, unless they're suddenly about to change their positioning from the brick. But it looks to me like Bichon's going to take it at the brick. He's going to have as his dom Valentin Hulin, and then they're going with a side stack.
Yeah, but look who's isolated on the other side of the field, Lorcan. Bosse immediately goes deep.
And that one is going to go a little bit too far ahead of him. Excellent defensive coverage as well from Laurence Georgi coming across. Bosse, bit hurt with that one. Everly was free for the under.
There we go, and he's been a hero to this tchac team all their game long. Just getting a little bit of maybe what we might refer to as hood syndrome. In their first game of the tournament, they just kept trying to throw it to Janssen.
Which normally works.
It does normally work, and it normally
and
works.
did just win their final group game to take the top seed.
Yeah, no, I'm not dissing Hood in any way, shape, or form. As we say, throwing it to Janssen's a really good idea.
But if there is a criticism, it is that they get sucked into that deep game sometimes.
Here we go. Can the defense of Fab? No, they cannot.
And that's the extra gear that tchac have. That's what I've been waiting for all game. Well, not really all game, but all second half. This is the time they have to turn it up. That was a game-saving defensive hold, and it was done by their O-line. So now, here they come, looking to get things started. They send it around to Hulin. Hulin does air volley. Shoots it at his knees, and he somehow collects it anyway. The high release to Bosse. How did he get that one? He skies his own man. About 3 Fab defenders just for effect as well.
Yeah,
and he caught it with his palm facing up. That's how much height he got on the disc.
Yep, that's Bosse for you.
Fantastic stuff.
I mean, I'm not even surprised at this stage of the game, Lorcan. I'm not even surprised. Just the man in the casual track pants goes up. And look at that, like you are. Palm facing the sky, tumbling through a mess of players. I think he actually punctured the foot. Well, I say punctured. Stamped on the foot of Laurence Georgi from the Fab side as he came down on that one. Him sort of stumbling out of that pile up, but oh, 14-13.
Bosse just coming up with it. Now let's have a look at what kind of line tchac put up in this game. Right now we have Clapham beat Franken in the quarterfinal 15-8. Cusp are 12-10. over Ragnarok, and Bad Skid beat Forward 15-10. So we wait to see. Now let's have a quick look. Quentin Roger, understandably out there, joining alongside him. Hervouet, who has been tireless for his cutting on the O-line, coming to the defense. Bossé switching onto the defense as well. So some big names making that transition. Merlin Wallace out there. And here come Fab. This is it. All on the line. Can tchac show that crushing defense that they become synonymous for this season? Metzger with the disc, puts back to Stouffer. Stouffer goes for the big hook. It's all the marbles. Quentin Roger trying to catch up.
Oh, and he comes up with the body.
And that's Roger against Lys. No call. Roger puts enough pressure on. Ravi dances down the sideline. But the hard part remains.
Oh, Roger, what a play defensively. Very nice. They're putting loads of, heaping the pressure on. Lovely disc from Stouffer, though. That backhand launched it.
But Roger, he made up so much distance chasing down Rhys, and not an easy man to chase down. Well, that's with the disc now. Looking around for a few options. Dump coming immediately available. He looks dump to Roger. A cheeky inside break, able to get it to Sokolski, another man who switched onto the D-line for these crucial few points. Roger looking for options, sprinting to come and help him. I really thought Fab were going to be able to close that gap, but they can't. Hervouet has it. Sweat pouring down his forehead, his heart beating erratically in his chest, but still cool and collected with the disc. Playing along, Roger once again really taking on a leadership role on this possession, and that D-line has not had many possessions. Bossé seemed to want the deep shot. They decide against it, fakes. The hammer goes instead for the cheeky little push pass to Roblé. But Rhys may be calling for a stall out. You can see the smile between the two players before the discussion, and they're very spirited after the brilliant defensive play Roger had on Rhys earlier in the point that we're now getting another look at. Just look at how much distance he made up.
Oof.
And it bounced out of Rhys's hands. The pressure influenced him definitely, but that's still, for all intents and purposes, a bit of a
Roger
drop.
being so close really forced Rhys not be able to go up and take it high. He had to go and trail it down long.
He definitely, I think he misread it ever so slightly because of that pressure coming in for Roger. They both caught themselves underneath it, and he had to try and change his positioning. But this has been a gripping game. The closest of the quarterfinals as well.
And it'll be a contested stall out here between these two players. So very well matched. I'm really enjoying them. So what will come out of the hands of Roger now? Oh, I love that lefty backhand toss.
And he gets it to Roblé. Roblé looking for options. Roger makes himself available. Instead, he shoots it beautifully low to the ground with that backhand on the flick side. I'm a big fan of that. Look how quickly Roblé just drops down. Gives it to Roger on the far side. Roger back across the middle to Olast. Back to Roblé. Roblé has Bossé in the middle, but he doesn't like it. And all credit has to be given to Metzger for the early stages at this point. He's kept Bossé out of the game, but now he involves himself. Gives it to Hervouet, and Hervouet looks to pop it in, and we've got a universe point. What a catch from Sokolski. What a play from tchac. Calm, collected all the way down the pitch.
Oh my goodness, look, and a game we've had all the way through, so tight. A little bit of breathing space for Fab, but tchac now on the attack. What a point from them. Oh my goodness, finding that break side as they have done all game, calling a timeout now. Oh my word.
Let's just have another look. As soon as Bossé comes available, cracks open the Fab end zone defense with a beautiful break. Hervouet is a phenomenal cutter, tireless, near his end zone, near your end zone, middle of the pitch. He's going to be open and it's going to be on time. Phenomenal stuff from Hervouet, really stealing the show with the tireless cutting. But I suppose that's just something that defines so many of tchac's players, the constant running and working for each other. So it's 14-all, Fab closing ranks, cheering themselves along. tchac discussing tactics. What are they going to do? How are they going to do it? I have to ask you, you're such a big fan of Stouffer. Do you think he forced that shot to Rhys?
I mean, the thing is, Rhys is a very, very good receiver, and that was, I mean, it bounced out of his hand, look, and he got the hand to the disc. It was a nice disc, but all respect and credit to Roger, because his defensive pressure was what generated that turn. Really, it wasn't a miscue from the offense. I like that shot, it's a good shot, but this is what we have. We have a battle between a stoic, mature offense versus a fiery, just relentless D. When you were watching that offense from tchac to take it to Universe Point, they did not look particularly comfortable. Really did not. Whereas you look at the Fab offense, when it's firing, it just looks a little bit more smooth. Definitely huge defensive pressure, but they just look calmer. So,
it really is the story of the mountains versus the sea. Wild and untamable for tchac, taking on the tall, stoic and collected Fab.
Lorcan Murray, pat yourself on the back, sir. That's an apt and excellent metaphor. The mountains versus the sea. Exactly that. We'll see what we come up with.
Who do you think? Do you still have Fab? I have to ask. I know we shouldn't. I know we shouldn't. I still have tchac. Do you still have Fab, or are you coming over to Team tchac?
Team tchac.
The tchac house.
The tchac house.
Shout out to El Shack, by the way.
I'm going to stick with Fab.
Fab.
I'm going to stick with Fab, if only to be on the opposite side from you and bring balance to the booth. Otherwise, we might topple out of our scaffold in the sky.
So let's see. I didn't like it at the start, but I've really come around to the Seagulls call.
Also, that was the thing, really. I can't get on board with the Seagull call. I just can't do it. Right, let's get it going.
So here come Fab, Stafford and Mosiman for the 100th time this game. Stafford tries to get going, and they've got Bosse on him, and that's two titans clashing, rumbling as Tengel, sorry, a man who has played an enormous role in this match. The layout was perhaps there for heavyweight, but he couldn't close the gap, and he's got a big ass to try and contain Glur down the line to Tengel. And Tengel looks back to Glur, and Glur just pops up the line again. You can really tell the fatigue on Hervé as he's struggling to keep pace with the nippiest man on Fab's outfit. So now, Tengel with the disc in hand. A little bit of discussion.
All of the players very close to this near sideline.
You can see how tense everybody is. Mosiman gets it, pops it back to Tengel. They're going to look to hit to the break side, but another pick call as we are in the red zone for the end of this game, potentially. So now, Tengel looking for options. Still trying to get them, just about able to get that around to Glur. Helsinki is doing a good job of not letting him gain a lot of yards, but he's still able to get the disc. And he hits it around to Reese. Reese in acres of space. He escaped the attentions of Kunta Roger. Charging forward towards the end zone. Reese, disc in hand, tries to get it to Glur. Tries to pay him back. They've connected so many times in this game. Glur has the disc. Really leading his team with his throws, with his play. Uncontested foul. Immediately resets the stall count. They don't even really need to inform anybody else. Tengel's able to get the disc. Pushing closer and closer to the open side. Pushes it back around to Glur. Bosse is trying to contain Stauffer at the front of that. Mosiman goes. Nobody comes. Glur's instead forced to throw that around the outstretched defender into the hands of Tengel. And they are so disciplined. Glur tries to jump it in. Somebody could call that a travel. He does it, throws it through the middle, and Roger can't close the gap. Fab take it. Deservedly so, you have to say. 15-14, an offensive hold after giving up 2 breaks. Sheer class and nothing but.
Oh my goodness, Lorcan. Sebastian Glur. Just outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Look at him here, just keeping his calm. Just putting out those little dump passes. Just out of the reach of the defender and just so smooth. And then Stauffer, I was losing myself right there. I was like, he's so free, hit him, just see him. And there we have it. Game to Fab. The mountains win over the sea. Yeah, that was fantastic, Lorcan.
That's what Ultimate is all about. That was a showcase for the very best of European Ultimate. So far, the only way is up. We have got a mixed semi-final coming to you next, which will be followed by the men's semi-final later on today. We'll wait for the results to come in before we can determine finally what they are. But every reason to be excited and every reason to keep it here. Fanseat.com. Thank you so much for joining us for that game. Maybe we should be getting thanked for bringing it to you. That was something special. I've been Lorcan Murray.
I've been Hannah Penderbury. We hope you enjoyed that as much as we did here at the UCF Championships.